Every Republican accusation is really just an admission of the truth about them, and no one displays that more than the projection president himself. Yes, Donald Trump, every attack he levies, every false claim he makes is always really just the truth about him. And the big lie of a stolen election in 2020 is a perfect example of this. Donald Trump is actively trying to steal the midterms and actively tried to steal the 2020 election. It is not in reverse as they would like you to believe. And someone who is making that incredibly clear and dropping a bomb on Donald Trump's election fraud is Kamala Harris, and it's got MAGA panicked. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into this bombshell from the former vice president, I want to start with what Gavin Newsom perfectly put in a call out of the lies about the redistricting effort in California in this clip right here.
We're moving forward with a special election on November 4th, coinciding with other local municipal elections to neutralize anything that Greg Abbott and Republicans are doing in Texas. They do 5 seats, we do 5 seats. And we're not only doing that, we're also announcing, as a consequence of this effort, a commitment to national independent redistricting. Well, that's on the ballot as well. We believe it's the right thing to do. In fact, the Democratic Party believes it's the right thing to do. Democrats have voted for national independent redistricting. Yeah. Republicans have not. So spare me the crocodile tears on Fox and everyone else saying, oh, everybody does this. Oh, these guys have been gerrymandering for years and years and years. Not like these folks have. And we're at least willing to call that out. And in California, we have moral authority because for 15 years we've had an independent redistricting commission, and we have some of the most competitive races. They may be going to Democrats. That's on the basis of competition, but some of the most competitive districts in America.
You are going to hear a lot, and I mean a lot, of lies about Gavin Newsom's redistricting effort over the next couple of months. This is going to be the big target by Republicans. They are going to spend upwards of $100 million in California trying to get Newsom to fail, trying to get our fight to fail, because they know this is the big one. If we win here, it is impossible for Republicans to win this battle. It is impossible for Republicans to steal the midterm. So we have to make it clear that Gavin Newsom sending this to the voters, allowing them to decide how we fight back against Donald Trump, is not how Fox would like to spin this. It is not a stolen election. It is not anti-democratic. It is entirely democratic. That is what is happening right now. There are no phony numbers being made up. There's no shape-shifting of our narrative. That's not happening. The only people doing that right now are in the Trump administration or in Texas, Indiana, Ohio, Florida. It doesn't matter. And we're seeing a lot of those lies come out of the current vice president, unfortunately, before we get to what Kamala Harris had to say.
And the other thing that we talked about, and I didn't even realize this, Maria, until a couple of years ago, that for apportioning representatives, you actually count illegal aliens. So even though illegal aliens theoretically are not supposed to vote, we know sometimes they do, you still count illegal aliens for congressional apportionment. So California has way more House seats than it should because they have such a high population of illegal aliens. So they get rewarded for welcoming illegal aliens into their state, giving them federal benefits, actually asking the taxpayers of states like Ohio to subsidize them, and then those same taxpayers in Ohio and Indiana and elsewhere, they have fewer congressional representatives because of what California has allowed to happen. That's ridiculously unfair, and the only real way to fight back against it is for us to redistrict in some ways as aggressively as these hard blue states have done.
Now, J.D. Vance is now so desperate that he's pulling the illegals card. First of all, this is a guy clearly who doesn't understand how the Constitution works, doesn't understand how the census works. J.D. Vance doesn't really care to understand, though that's not really his deal. But it's funny because the White House shipped J.D. over to Indiana to try to convince their legislature to engage in this gerrymandering effort. And he hasn't been able to land that plane, so now the White House is trying to get involved. Now Trump's aides are trying to get involved. It's just been a failure from Vance. But one vice president who's actually getting down to business in this fight, Kamala Harris, had a lot to say about Donald Trump's cheating and fraud.
Here's how I think about it. I think you're right in terms of the effect. I think what they're doing is they're cheating. think they're cheating. They want to change the current system to make it bend toward the outcome they want. And so, if you believe the public reporting, they get a call that says, hey, redo your lines, even though the fallout is going to include exactly what you said, which is, taking the franchise, the vote, away from specific communities, and in the case of Texas, Latino and Black voters.
Yeah.
And diluting their votes. And this is not a census year, but this is a year with the big, beautiful bill and the unpopularity of it. And so they want to bend the rules. Mm-hmm. And I have to say that, those Texan legislators, good for them. That takes a lot of courage.
They are trying to steal this election. And Kamala Harris didn't stop there with her takedown. I've got another clip you're going to be very excited to check out. But I just want to say one quick thing. This is what we need. We need every Democrat getting involved, bringing attention, but not just giving speeches, not just writing letters, but actually delivering. It doesn't matter if you are in or out of power. You have to be in this battle. And Kamala Harris continued to be in a great speech I want to check out right here.
To find justice and relief, and they are trying to destroy those institutions. They are trying to destroy OSHA. Shouldn't the American worker be able to know that their government takes care of and is concerned with the American worker's safety? And that we would have an institution that has been designed and would be sustained to protect that fight for safety in the workplace? But we are now seeing we cannot take these things for granted. And again then, since 1971 through to today, this caucus's work is so important. And I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy. And I know the battles that the members and the leaders and the organization are fighting right now. Life is long. Life is long. In moments like this and in moments of struggle, the world and the circumstances reveal who the truly strong are, who the truly courageous are, who the truly committed are, and that is you. Recently I convened a bunch of young leaders. I actually just had a chance to meet with some of the young members of the organization just before I walked in. But I met with some young leaders recently. They're part of a national organization organizing and young people. And I was asking them, tell me what's going on and what you're worried about. And one of the things they're worried about, of course, is that their parents, their grandparents, what it's going to be as these folks are trying to take away Medicaid. They're worried about what's happening in terms of all of these threats to education. They're worried about the fact that people are trying to erase America's history. They're worried about the fact that they're cutting funding for cancer research. And one of the things that they talked about specifically that they were worried about was happening in Texas. And it was interesting because basically, you talk to a young leader when you really just want to break it down in terms of what it just plainly is. And what I took away from that conversation is that they know, those young leaders, people like those elected Republicans in Texas, they have figured out that they can't win if they don't cheat. That's what that's about. Because they know that taking Medicaid from working families, from sick people, is not a winning argument. Cutting education funds, SNAP benefits, is not a winning argument. Getting rid of cancer research to solve the things that ail people is not a winning argument. So they're cheating, and they want to cheat. But I'm proud that right here in the state of California, there was just a decision made that we're going to take it to the voters, take it to the streets, take it to the people. Fight for fairness and not allow the people who want to cheat democracy win. It is time to fight fire with fire. And that's what this moment is requiring of all of us. And so I close by saying, Enjoy this evening. Enjoy that beautiful room. I walked by, I saw there's a celebration and a party happening tonight. And enjoy that. You have earned it. And then let's get back out there. Let's continue to stand. Because when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. This caucus knows what you stand for, so let us continue in the fight.
We need to live on the ground. We need to live on social media. We need to live in this messaging war constantly. You want to take a look at someone who's doing that? Gavin Newsom. His Twitter account mocking Donald Trump, his press office mocking Donald Trump's tweets. You might see that as maybe a little hokey, maybe a little jokey. What is this really doing? It's keeping him relevant. It's keeping the message breaking through. That doesn't just exist on Twitter. It gets Fox angry. Do you know what they're doing every night on Fox now? They're reading those tweets for some reason. They are reading Gavin Newsom's post mocking Donald Trump and saying one thing very clearly, that he is trying to steal the midterms and they are carrying out a Democratic effort to stop him. Fox, the Fox propaganda outlet, is giving Gavin Newsom free airtime to deliver his message because he is trolling Donald Trump. We got to think about that. So many times we're on the back foot, we're responding to what Republicans say, we're letting them define the narrative. And sometimes it seeps in. Clearly it did in 2024. Donald Trump was so omnipresent in the lies that he was pushing that some of them seeped in. That's what we got to do. Now, of course, we actually have a message of truth, but we got to bring it everywhere all the time. And sometimes that means getting upset, getting fired up like Jasmine Crockett does, so much so that MAGA gets furious, they post you everywhere, and your message lands. If you're getting Fox riled up so much so that they have to respond to what you're saying, do you know what they're doing? They're playing your voice for their audience. It's gonna break through. Be everywhere. Don't be afraid to get caught trying. Stop reading the stage directions and speak from your heart. And if you can't, get out of the game. We don't need you. A lot of other Democrats out there who know how to speak. A lot of other Democrats out there who actually want to fight. Not all of them are in Congress right now. Certainly not a lot of them are in our leadership. But they're out there, and they're happy to take your seat at the table and happy to fight. I promise you I'm happy to fight. We're going to be out there, and if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.